going? Hang on, I'm putting my phone on Do Not Disturb here. Alrighty, I hope you are doing well. Man, what a day. While we are waiting on folks to join, coopedup.com is my website. You can visit that anytime. I'm Cooped Up as my handle on all the social places. Would love a follow, particularly on Instagram. And wherever you watch or listen to this, be sure to click on the bell or the notification or the subscribe or whatever it's called so that you don't miss a second of it. And with that, let's get going. I don't know that it's going to be a very long episode today. I have been so busy and just kind of looked up and I'm like, oh shit, it's 4:30. How did that happen? So actually, it has been, but it's funny enough, it's been a short day, but it's actually been an extra long day. I woke up at about 5:45 this morning. I normally wake up between 6:45 and 7 most days, but I woke up a full hour early this morning. I just woke up and wasn't sleepy anymore, and I was like, okay, I can either I made a good choice, and I always regret when I don't make this choice, but I typically do make the worst choice of the two. I woke up and I said, you know what? I can either roll back over, sleep for another 20 to 30 minutes, or I can just get up, get my day started, get my walk out of the way. Hey, Mama, how are you? So I walked 2.5 miles this morning before even eating breakfast or getting the kids off to school. So that was a good start. And then from there, it was just come home, get ready to go to work, go to the office, a meeting this morning, another meeting right after that, lunch. And then, of course, I did have a very important appointment today. Got my blonde back. And then got home and looked up and I'm like, had to get the kids and looked up and I'm like, oh, it is 4:30. How did that happen? So anyway, and I did not sleep very well last night. And I'm sure you can see it in my eyes a little bit. I'm a little tired also, in addition to all of that, which is surprising me. I woke up so early and just wide awake considering I didn't sleep very well. But here's something I have learned today. You know, I told y'all that I have not been drinking alcohol except for on the actual weekends. So like Friday night and Saturday night, not on a day that is followed by a work day or a school day. And I've been sleeping wonderfully because of that. However, as kind of a way to substitute, to make my feels, to get kind of that ritual part of it, I have been taking kombucha and mixing it with club soda or LaCroix with a squeeze of lime. So I have a little mocktail and I'm sipping on that throughout the evening. Well, I've noticed the last few nights that I have been peeing so much. Like I've been getting it, like I go to bed and by the time I fall asleep, I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom again. So I get up and go to the bathroom and then I come and I fall asleep. And then 2 hours later, it's like 12:45. And I'm like, how do I need to go to the bathroom again? And then, so like 3 times last night. Well, finally, I looked it up this morning. Y'all, kombucha is a diuretic. Did y'all know that? I did not know that. I thought, well, how? And the reason it is a diuretic because it is a detoxifier. If you don't know what kombucha is, it's like this mix of like vinegar and fruit stuff and herbs and all this stuff. It doesn't taste bad. Some taste better than others. And if you mix it and make a little mocktail, it actually tastes quite good. And because it has a little bit of sharpness, it kind of simulates alcohol. So I will not be doing that well into the evening. I might just do one, if even that, from now on. Because if it's a detoxifier, it is helping to flush your system. And I'm drinking it with a ton of water, which is good. I'm not dehydrating myself because I'm doing about half kombucha, half club soda. But it is flushing my system out. So I have a very clean system, which is very sleepy because I wasn't getting a lot of sleep last night. So anyway, lesson learned. Don't drink kombucha right before bed. What else do I know today? Did y'all see that Mikhail Gorbachev died today? The former, was it premier president? I don't know what the job title was back then. I just saw the headline for it. He was 91 years old, died today. And for those of us of a certain age, but not too much of a certain age, so like I would say 40s, early 50s, he is an interesting character in our brains, in our timeline of life. Because to me, he was never like the villain, right? And so he led Russia forever, and he's ultimately the one who resigned, and I think it was in like 1991, maybe he resigned, and that's when Russia fell apart, the USSR fell apart and turned into the Commonwealth of Independent States for a while, and then with Russia, and then Ukraine and Georgia, and it's like Uzbekistan, one of those maybe. There's a couple of others, maybe like 10. But in my timeline, like my personal memories of him are not of him being like a villain so much, although Ronald Reagan did say, Mr. Gorbachev, tear this wall down. Isn't that what he said? I could be getting my history wrong. But in my mind, he was kind of a, like, sort of friendly to the Reagans, if memory is serving me correct. I've had drinks since then, so who knows? But like he was kind of like a big figure, just like Mayor Koch of New York was. Like obviously the presidents were, like different people, like Margaret Thatcher. Whether you liked her politics or not, she was a big figure during that time. And as a child, because like in the 1980s, so I started school in 1980, right? So like 82, I was in second grade. 84, I was in the fourth grade. 88, I was in the eighth grade. And that's all like the prime time for Reagan, him, and Margaret Thatcher. They were just big characters in like what was going on in the world, how the world was changing. Ultimately, the world was changing for the better. Russia turned into something a little bit less aggressive at the time. I think we're returning to a more aggressive Russia these days. But so I don't know if it's kind of like how are we supposed to feel about him, like history? Like, is history treating him kindly? Is it like he led to East Germany falling apart, the reunification of Germany, the Russia or the USSR falling apart, all of that kind of stuff? Like, are we happy about that? Are we not? I literally don't know. But I just saw that and I was like, oh, he died. So that's kind of a funny thing. And like I said, today's episode at the top of the show, I had such a crazy day today, like just meeting after meeting after meeting. And then I had a hair appointment that I have not had. I didn't even write my cards today. I'm reading from my other monitor here. So if you have any questions, let me know. Or if there's something that you want to say that I may not have thought of, I love it. So I do have a poll. I can't put a poll up on the screen, but we can verbally do a poll. Eric, who's a frequent watcher here, posted something on Facebook last night that got me wondering. It was kind of like an aha moment, and it's not anything important. It was just one of those things that you never think about that made me, I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And again, none of this is like poking fun at him or mocking him. I genuinely had kind of a, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way thing about this. And I asked about it on my Facebook also. And specifically, it is related to drive-through lanes at fast food places like McDonald's, Wendy's, Whataburger, Sonic. Although I learned Sonic has drive-throughs. I had no idea. I thought Sonic was a drive-through or drive-in. Maybe that's the difference. I thought it was the same thing, though. But the question was posed about proper etiquette in using the drive-through lanes. How much can you or should you order? What's the polite thing? And I learned in the course of that conversation on his Facebook last night, and then further conversation on my Facebook earlier today, that there are people who consider the drive-through lane at fast food places to be like an express lane. And their expectation in their mind is that it is for quick ordering. It is for ordering one or two things, not ordering a car full of food for your family. It is not for ordering complicated things. It is not for, it's for grabbing a drink, maybe grabbing like an Egg McMuffin and a coffee, that sort of thing, and going. I never thought of it that way. I still don't agree with that, but my point of view on what the drive-through lane is, the drive-through lane, like at a McDonald's, for example, wholly replaces any reason I would step foot into the store, regardless of what I am ordering. It wholly replaces it. It is not an if or whatever, that kind of thing. or. It's an and, it's not an or kind of thing. And so I was curious if y'all had the same thing. And that's one of those things I love when things like that come up where I'm like, I never realized that other people may think of it that way, or other people may think of it as something different, right? Like is like the dollar stores, for example. I have friends who are 100% against dollar stores. They think that they like rape and pillage the small towns and country people, and that they're overpriced, that they're full of bad stuff. I have other people who are like, you can get really cheap stuff there, and it's great, and it's available, and it's nearby to people, and sometimes it provides a service that you don't think of, like small towns. I swear, when in an RV, we learn this. Every small town in America has a Dollar General or a Dollar Tree, pretty much, or some variation of that. And many of them are like the only grocery store around. So if you need and they may not have even a gas station in their town. So it may be like where people get milk and bread and stuff. So I like things like that where you see both sides and you don't realize it. Anyway, so my mom agrees with me. I hope you would. What else did I have on my list? Oh, I ordered invitations for Nina's baby shower that's coming up in late October. I ordered them on Saturday morning from Minted. Saturday morning, they're already here. They just arrived in the mail today. I am shocked by that. Like what a world we live in, where you can have something custom. You can order it on the middle of the day on a Saturday, because it was around lunchtime, actually. Middle of the day on a Saturday, and effectively a day and a half business days later, it is in your mailbox at your house, ready to be stuffed, mailed, and out the door. Like, that just blows my mind that that's the world we live in. This is also the world that my children live in, though. And when they order something on Amazon, because Amazon, I don't know if you're aware of this, if you're a parent out there, Amazon has child accounts where you can set it up where your kids have an Amazon account, but if they want to order something, it goes to you for approval, and it can go on their card. Like my kids have a debit card, it can go on their card, or I can choose for it to go on my card, depending on what it is. But I can have the kids go in and pick exactly what they want on it. And my kids are spoiled, though. They're like, why isn't I just press order? Why is it not here yet? Why is it? And I'm like, you bitches never heard of 4 to 6 weeks for shipping and handling? That's the world that we lived in. I'm not saying it's a better world. I'm not saying I want to go back to that world, because I'm as spoiled as anyone about Amazon or anyone. I ordered from Zappos, which is an Amazon company, yesterday, and I'm assuming the products are probably going to be delivered today. But even like Target and stuff like that, Walmart goes really fast too. But what a world we live in, where you can custom print invitations, and the envelopes are addressed too. Sam is saying he started the Crawdad book, where the Crawdads sing, last night, and he finished it today. Such a good book. Oh my God. Isn't it beautiful? I cried at the end. Like I literally cried at reading the book at the end, because of just kind of everything that you discover at the end, and kind of the final release of what's been going on. I think it's just such a well-written book too. Have you seen the movie, Sam? The movie is fantastic. The movie is great if you have seen the book or read the book. It is great if you have not read the book. The book is a little bit different than the movie, as it always is the case, but not so much, not in any real important reason, in any important way, not in a way that really compromises it. What else? Oh, Labor Day. So this is the last thing I have on my list. So if you have anything that you want to talk about, throw it in the comments. Otherwise, it's going to be a shorty. Labor Day sales. I'm starting to get ads for the Labor Day sales, the big thing. So what are y'all buying? Have you seen any good sales? We are needing to buy, and my mom, you're hearing it for the first time. We have to, those pasta bowls that you bought me a million years ago, 2 of them have now broken. So we only have 2 left. So I have to buy new pasta bowls. And so I'm shopping for those this weekend. Online, of course. And plus we only had 4, and I'm wanting a service of 8. So we're going to do that. because I love some spaghetti, and it's kind of one of my go-tos when we have just casual dinners with friends and stuff here at the house. But so I need to order that. But I saw an interesting thing today that Kohls and GAP both announced today that they are going for all of their, because all the stores have way too much merchandise. There wasn't enough, and then they ordered a bunch, and then it all came in, and then we didn't want all of it anymore, or it was stuff that we didn't want after the pandemic was over. Pardon me, allergies today. Yes, I am drinking from the same glass as yesterday. The downside of buying a fancy schmancy Starbucks cup that looks great and glistens in the light is that it's very obvious that I use them for multiple days at a time without washing them, because I'm gross like that. But it's just water. That's all I put in it. But back to Kohls and the GAP. So Kohls and GAP, instead of running big Labor Day sales and clearance sales and trying to get rid of all this stuff, they are taking what's called, and I wrote it down, pack and hold, a pack and hold approach. So what they're going to do is they're just going to pack that shit up and put it back in their warehouses and repackage it and bring it back out next spring and later this year, like maybe for Christmas time, maybe for spring, maybe for summer next year. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that you already saw in the Kohls and in the GAP, and I assume most others will follow suit, especially now that it's being reported on. That you're going to see a lot of that rolling into the next seasons. So which is interesting, because Carrie was telling me about Carrie's on the market for a new car. And she was talking to a car dealer about, I think it was a car dealer or a car executive. I think she may have a friend who's an executive, maybe not at a dealership, maybe with one of the big, like GM or something like that. But she was talking to them about that. She was like, ooh, maybe if I wait, now that all the cars that came out that couldn't be sold are going to finally get their microchips and come out, and then they're going to be year-old cars. They're going to be 2022s. Or even 2021s, maybe I can pick up a good deal because the 2023s are coming out. And that person was like, no. We're actually just skipping. They're just skipping 2022. So those year-old cars that have already been made or just waiting on random parts, they're just going to roll those out as 2023s. That's what she told me, Carrie did. So I think that is interesting and very ingenious, actually. It keeps them from discounting too much. So... and then what else I had only had one other thing on my list. South Lake, Texas. Y'all know South Lake, Texas. So it's like the whitest of the white suburb here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's like just northwest of Fort Worth, more or less, maybe due north of Fort Worth, and out by the airport. And it has one of the top school districts in the state. It has like one of the winningest football teams in the state. Like all the marks, it's like great place, except for it's crazy racist, supposedly. There's people complaints up and down about it. They're like the epicenter of opposing critical race theory, which isn't really a thing in like the elementary schools and junior highs and even high schools. That's more of a college thing. But basically, critical race theory generally, which I agree with, is looking at like how the system is set up and saying, yes, there are people who had advantages and there are people at disadvantages, and acknowledging it. It's not about making anyone feel guilty. It's not meaning saying white people are bad and black people are victims. It's acknowledging that it exists and kind of trying to dismantle that and put it back together in a better way. That's effectively what it is. But it's the epicenter of that. And the state legislature here in Texas passed a bill saying that if any private citizen or company prints a sign or poster, a framed sign or poster that says "In God We Trust" and donates it to the school district is required, or I don't know if it's the district or the school, same thing generally, they are required to post it, like hang it. Like it is a requirement. They can't throw it away. They can't put it in storage. They have to hang it up. Maybe they can hang it in the storage closet. I don't know, but it has to be hung up. Well, this Patriot Mobile, I think is what it was. Patriot Cellular, some company. It's a Christian phone company, which I didn't know a phone company could be Christian. What's that even mean? Like, if you push pound 3 times, you get to speak to God. Like, what's a Christian? Same as I've never understood like Christian tree trimmers or Christian plumbers. Like, what does any of that have to do with anything else? I mean, I'm Christian, but I'm not like I'm the Christian PR person unless I were doing PR for churches, right? But anyway, so they have to do these. So this Patriot Mobile printed up a bunch of signs, donated them to the school. They were, of course, just red, white, and blue, all that stuff. In God we trust. And they're hanging in these South Lake schools. Well, some people were like, well, let's see how far we can test this. I think this is funny. So they made "In God We Trust" signs. They made them in Arabic, and they made them. And by the way, did you know if you were a Christian in Egypt or anywhere in like the Middle East that you call God Allah also? It's true. In Christian churches in Egypt and all of those places, God is called Allah, because that is the word for God. Anyway, "In God We Trust" in Arabic, I believe is that what I said? Yes. And then they also made one where it was in rainbow, like LGBTQ, because that school district is also very much about anti-trans people, gay, gender norms. It's pretty much a checklist of all of the MAGA stuff. But so this person last night raised a bunch of money, had a bunch of these, I raised like $40,000, had these signs printed, and the school district was like, we have enough. We don't want your signs. And it's going to be funny, though, because the state law doesn't say until they have enough. It says if it is donated, it must be hung. So it'll be interesting to see the mental gymnastics that are used to get them out of that. So that is all I have, y'all. Like I said, I did not have much time to prepare today. It's also a small audience today. Do I have any questions? Is it raining in Dallas? It is not yet, Mom. It is, they're predicting rain to start here at around 7 o'clock, but just a little off and on. It has been cloudy all day. It looks like it wants to, I'm looking out the window. It looks like it wants to rain, but it just hasn't. But yeah, so it's going to start raining, and I think it now is going to rain for the next few days, just off and on. Not God, I hope not like last week. That was the worst, the deluge. But anyway, all righty. Well, with that, that's all I got. I love you. It's important to know you were loved. I love that you watched this. Thank you. And I will see you tomorrow at 4:30 for another episode of Cooped Up Live, should I say. Talk to you later. Bye. Love y'all. Stay dry if you get rained on. Bye. And thank you, Kelly, for my compliment on my hair. Bye.